We now open the floor for discussion, and the session will be moderated by Dr. Mahesh Rajasuriya, Director for Center for Combating Tobacco, CCT. Dr. Rajasuriya, over to you.
Thank you, Sonam. We'll get on with the discussion straight away because we have, you'd probably go maybe 10 or 20 minutes over the scheduled finish time, but not more than that. First, let me invite Mr. Hassan Shahryar from Praga, from Bangladesh, to open up with a few remarks on the main challenges in implementing Article 5.3 in Bangladesh. Shahryar, I think you can give us a brief, quick look in a minute or two. Over to Shahryar.
Thank you, Dr. Mahesh. Actually, I just want to go straight forward to the question. I want to talk about the Article 5.3 implementation challenges in Bangladesh. You all see that Bangladesh is not doing well in implementing Article 5.3 in Bangladesh. Particularly, Dr. Mary mentioned in her presentation. What are the challenges behind the lack of progressing? The first challenge is, as far as PROGA is concerned, as a tobacco industry monitoring center in Bangladesh, the first challenge is the government ownership in the tobacco industry. You know, the Bangladesh government has a ownership in BAT Bangladesh around 10%, and out of 10%, around 1% is in the name of President of Bangladesh. So against this investment, there are 4 to 6 government officials in the board of BAT, and the persons are the very high officials of the government. I mean the secretary, those who are actually interfering in various tobacco control measures have been taken by the government. So this is the very inherent contradiction, and also contradiction to the declaration of Prime Minister of tobacco-free country by 2040, you know. So this is the first challenge we see. The second challenge is there is still lack of Article 5.3 policy in Bangladesh. The National Tobacco Control Cell has drafted a policy, but yet not progress. That has already been mentioned by Dr. Manuza Pereira. The last challenge we see, that is infrastructural challenge. The challenge is, you know, there is a National Tobacco Control Cell in our country under the Ministry of Health. But the last 2 years, there has been a lot of change in the coordinator position. So far, I know there are 3% changed their position, and the person who recently assigned in this position is working as an additional duty for this coordinating position. And there are also the shortage of human resource in the National Tobacco Control Cell. That is why they are more interested to work on awareness rather to work on reforms in policy. So these are overall challenges I see. I want to end up with a good news, that is, you know, according to our law, the cigarettes are listed as essential product, that Mary already mentioned. But the good news is, in the 1st of July, an influential MP is going to place a private member's bill in the parliament to remove the cigarette from the list of essential product. So as a monitoring center in Bangladesh, PROGA is supporting the influential member of parliament to support his cause for the betterment of the future generation. Thank you. This is all from my side. Dr. Mahesh, over to you.
Thank you, Shahryar. Thank you very much. Next, there are few questions, some of them tough questions. coming the way of Dr. Thibaut Zilagi. Thibaut, I hope you can turn your video on. Yes, Thibaut, great. Yeah, okay. This question from Upendra Bojani. While FCTC is legally binding treaty, are there mechanisms and examples where such legal liability of countries to comply with FCTC being evoked?
Thank you, Mahesh, and this is always a difficult question, and you are asking me because you don't find it in the FCTC. So unfortunately, I can't respond differently. There is no such mechanism. However, there is a mechanism to follow up parties on their implementation. So parties need to submit implementation reports every second year to the Conference of the Parties. And these reports are to be made public. So they are all available on the Secretariat's website. So it is important that there is, at national level, these reports can be utilized in many different ways. They can be used to ensure responsibility of the government, of the different government entities for their doing their job in terms of implementation of the FCTC. So these reports should be taken, should be looked at by advocates, and they should call upon the different government departments on their progress, on their challenges, and on why they have not progressed more in implementation. So there is a mechanism for that. On top of that, of course, the Secretariat does an analysis of the reports every second year, and we are submitting that to the Conference of the Parties. Of course, that's a general report. It's a global report. We can't reflect on the implementation of every single party one by one, but we do our best to enumerate some best practices, some good practices, and to promote them among all the parties. As you might also know, that there is a process ongoing, and we have this objective in the global strategy as well, to set up an implementation review mechanism for the parties' implementation of the FCTC. And the process, of course, is ongoing. There was a pilot project exercise implemented by the Convention Secretariat with the participation of 12 volunteer parties who agreed to be reviewed in terms of their implementation. So we are considering, and the parties will need to consider during the Conference of the Parties, whether and how and when they are going to establish such an implementation review mechanism. And such implementation review mechanism could be a way of the parties peer reviewing each other's implementation with a view to providing each other's more assistance in implementation with absolutely a positive and assistance-focused, let's say, endeavor. Not to be critical, but providing, let's say, ways forward on fellow parties on how they best need to move forward in implementation of the convention. So I hope that I still was able to provide some insights on what we are up to, and of course, eventually, it is all in the hands of the parties who are working together in the conferences of the parties to move forward in the different directions and take decisions that will strengthen implementation of the FCTC. Thank you, Mahesh.
Okay, Chigo, please don't go away. One more question. I expect a very brief answer from you to this, Chigo. There's a perception that FCTC remains somewhat blind to the issues related to smokeless tobacco products. South Asia having highest burden of smokeless tobacco. Your comments, Chigo?
Yeah, I think smokeless tobacco products are tobacco products in according to the definition in the FCTC. So every measure in the FCTC should also be applicable to smokeless tobacco products. And we know that this is a very important issue to be addressed in Southeast Asia region, and this is why the Secretariat promoted and we eventually established a knowledge hub for smokeless tobacco that is based in India, in Noida. And with them, we have already elaborated a guide on how to apply the different FCTC articles to smokeless tobacco products. I will look for the internet address of the guide and I will put it in a chat window. So that's, I think it's a very important document which we are promoting widely all over the world to ensure that the same policies are applicable to smokeless tobacco products as to smoking tobacco products. Again, there's a lot of work to be done. This will not happen from a day or the other, but as I said, this tool, which is very important, a guide on how to apply every single FCTC article, is available. And if you need assistance on how to utilize that tool, then we can put you in touch with a knowledge hub on smokeless tobacco, and we can help you together with them.
Thank you, Thibaut. And last question about, Basant Kumar has mentioned about the importance of enforcing Article 17 on alternate crops and Article 18 on protecting environment. Do you wish to say anything on these two articles, Thibaut, at this juncture?
What I could say is that there are good examples out there already, and if you go to the implementation database of the FCTC Secretariat on our website, then you can already identify such good examples on how these can be done. And the head of Secretariat, Dr. Adriana Blanco Marquizo, is very eager to promote a stronger implementation of Articles 17 and 18. And you see different statements and communications from the Convention Secretariat in this matter. And what more, to just highlight our intention to strengthen implementation of this, the most recently established knowledge hub in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil is on Articles 17 and 18. So they have started operating last July, less than 1 year. They have recently launched their website. Please look at it. And they are in the process of putting together an e-library on the best experiences related to the implementation of Articles 17 and 18. So yes, I agree, this has been quite a relatively neglected area and relatively low implementation, with relatively low implementation. And this is why we thought that we need to make some steps to ensure that, that the promotion of Articles 17 and 18 implementation is being strengthened. Thank you.
Thank you, Thibaut, for answering those very difficult questions. I'm sorry, we are running behind time, so we might not be able to take all the questions. Thibaut, many wanted to get hold of your slides. I think that's okay to share the slides.
Yes, please. Please, I send them to you already, so please, together with the others, you can share it.
Thank you, Thibaut. Thank you very much. Doing a very tough job. I know that Dr. Mary Assunta has already answered this question. Mary, if you can turn your video on to give a quick, brief answer, that would be great. Thank you. This is from Dr. Rakesh Gupta, a friend from India. I know you have answered, but you might want to say it briefly for everybody to hear. How individuals working at lower levels in tobacco control can work to be effective, especially in making our countries, our communities immune to tobacco industry interference, Mary?
Thank you. First, I'd like to say that the FCTC in Article 4.7 says that the role of civil society is essential to the successful implementation of the FCTC. So therefore, we need civil society, and that's, most of us present at this webinar. And then there are many, many different jobs that need to be done. And it's a variety of resources and a variety of capacity and skills that is needed. So if you're a researcher, I think there's a lot of research that needs to be done, which has got to be, put into the hands of governments to support policy. If you are an eloquent speaker, get out there, get on television, on radio, on Facebook, and put out your message to support the government or to expose the tobacco industry. If you are a fields person, then go out there and to do the, the surveys, to talk to people, to document some of the industry promotions. And if you have time on your hands and you're good at monitoring, then get out there to monitor. So there are many different things that need to be done. It all depends on your capacity and your willingness to decide on where you actually want to help, so that we can both expose as well as support our governments to implement the FCTC and Article 5.3.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Anybody wants to perhaps share a 1 minute, experience from the civil society who's on this meeting? We can give just perhaps 1 minute maximum on the same question, what the civil society can do, as Dr. Mary Asantha highlighted as well. Any practical example anybody wants to quickly share? I thought that's worth doing it, even though we are behind the schedule.
Okay, you are allowed to talk. Vasant Kumar.
Hello. Namaste.
Yes, Vasant Kumar. Tell us very quickly your experience.
Oh, sir. My question is, as I have asked.
Vasant, I think you are on 2 devices and there's a feedback coming in.
Just a minute.
Or maybe the live webcast is on your computer.
Now I can talk. Hello.
Now better, yeah.
Hello.
Yes, good.
Can I talk now?
Yes.
Yeah, you are good now. Yeah.
Hello. Hello.
Go ahead, Vasant. Please go ahead and
sure,
quickly
sir.
give us your.
See, World Bank themes for World No Tobacco Day are only peripheral in issues. That is the core issue I was talking about, throttling the tobacco industry by banning cultivation completely. As I have suggested, every year keep on reducing 20% of area and 20% of crop size, and don't buy unlicensed produce for auctioning by the government authorities. India is adopting double standards in its implementation process of 5.3. There should be a limit, and even the members of parliament are helping tobacco industry to go on increasing their activities by supporting the industry and interfering with the government policy making. They are unnecessarily helping the tobacco industry. May I know why? What can be done? Can't WHO pass strictures on such erring countries?
Vasant Kumar, yeah, I think your question.
Pardon?
Yeah, answered already in certain ways, but there's no ever complete answer to this. Quickly looking at the questions. Yeah. Right. Okay. I think I'm looking at. Right. Okay. Yes, I think we are coming to the end of the question and answer session. before our dear friend Dr. Gan Quan summarizes the findings. But anything, Mary, you want to add as your final concluding remarks?
Thank you very much, Dr. Mahesh, and congratulations for this putting together a really important webinar. I just want to encourage civil society groups out there, including government officials, that actually we have the tools. So we have Article 5.3 in our hands. We know what needs to be done. And so we need to work together, which means that as civil society, we can gather the evidence and put it in the hands of governments, but we must also stand to support the governments, which means that we need to expose, as I mentioned, and also to support the governments in to making it easy. In other words, providing the template, having meetings, and to really to do that as soon as possible, because there are many governments out there who have already done this. So it's not like, you're doing it for the first time. And don't forget, we've had the tool with us for 12 years because it was adopted in 2008. So that's why, for the STOP project and for GGTC, we've got the report card, in the Global Tobacco Industry Interference Index. So with more countries, doing the index, I think it's a powerful tool really to assist the governments, to urge them, encourage them, appeal to them to actually do what is an obligation. Remember this, Article 5.3 implementation is an obligation, and it's the governments who reported to say that industry interference is an obstacle. They reported it and they complained about it. So now it is in their hands to actually utilize what they already have, which empowers them to do the right thing. Thank you, Dr. Mahesh.
Thank you, Mary. At least better late than never. So thank you, Mary. And Thibaut, over to you for your concluding remarks in 1 minute, please.
Thank you, Mahesh. And I would like to echo what Mary said, that government departments have their responsibilities and the civil society should work together with them. They should work together hand in hand, especially in the area of awareness raising, in the area of Article 5.3, because there are issues which the government can't do, but the civil society can do. What is important is that there is connection between the two. So you need to establish good relationship with the government. As a first step, with the government focal point for the FCTC, for tobacco control. And I put one example in the chat box about what to do with India and whom to connect. But every single party to the convention have an FCTC focal point. That is very important that civil society works together with them. Without this connection, the success will be delayed, I think. And just one response to Bangladesh. I really admire Proga, and I'm receiving the newsletters from them, and congratulations to the many things you've done. With the process in the government, it's very difficult to move ahead with the code of conduct. I think what other countries have done, and what I could suggest, that first the Ministry of Health adopts the code of conduct to show a good example, and then you move forward with the other government departments. I'm not saying that you should stop your effort with other government departments, but as a beginning of the process, the Ministry of Health, maybe they have the opportunity to establish and set up the code of conduct, and then you move towards the other departments. This can be one option if it's very difficult to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Thibaut. And this disconnection between the civil society and the government and the different sectors of the government is not just happenstance, it's the tobacco industry interference itself. Right, thank you, Thibaut, thank you very much. That's the end of this interesting question and answer session. Sonam, back to you.
Thank you everyone for a wonderful discussion, and Dr. Rajasuriya for moderating the session. Given the diverse backgrounds of our panelists and participants today, we have gained a deeper understanding of what is happening in and around South Asia concerning tobacco industry influence, of course. So we now head to the final session of the colloquium. We have Dr. Gan Quan, Director of the International Union Against Tuberculosis and Lung Disease, also known as the Union, speaking on the possible actions and way forward based on the day's proceedings. Dr. Gan.
Thank you, Sonam. First, thank you for having me to attend this very exciting webinar. I want to congratulate the organizers, Mahesh and the team, for putting a lot of effort into organizing this, and especially for the launch of the regional report. This is a very important step in helping us understanding the situation, and also with the very important information data to help us plan the way forward. I would also like to thank the speakers, Tibor, Mary, and Manuja, for the wonderful presentations, and for the participants for their feedback, for their interaction with the speakers as well. I want to start by saying SARC-CCT is a very important platform for exchanging experiences across countries. There are many issues in tobacco control faced by the region, countries in the region. But there are some issues that are common to the countries in the region and are unique to the countries in the region. And I think it was mentioned by one of the speakers, which is smokeless tobacco, for example. We know BAT has been heavily promoting Velo in Pakistan in the past few months, and it should be a surprise because of the common use of smokeless tobacco in many countries in the region that such activities will be expanded elsewhere. The second point I want to say is, which is something both Mary and Tibor have talked about, which is the collaboration between civil society and the government. Civil society's role in tobacco control is very important, and particularly important in implementing 5.3, not just in supporting governments in developing the policy, but also exposing violations, industry behaviors, but also in collaborating with the government in resolving these issues. And it really takes trust building between civil society and the government. I know we have a long way to go in most of the countries we work in to build such a strong relationship to counter tobacco industry interference. I know in SARC-CCT, many of the fellows are from civil societies, but many of the fellows are also from the governments in the same country. So I hope this platform of SARC-CCT really can help forge the relationship and collaboration between civil society partners and their government counterparts in the country. Tobacco industry interference is the single most important challenge for tobacco control, as Tibor mentioned at the beginning of his presentation. There's still quite a bit of gap in knowledge, capacity, policy, and action against tobacco industry interference. I think it's fair to say tobacco industry interference will be long-lasting, ever-present, as long as there's tobacco use. So this is going to be a long challenge for us. I just want to take this opportunity to express the union's commitment to supporting SARC-CCT in building this wonderful platform, and I'm sure STOP partners will feel the same. In the end, lastly, I just want to wish SARC-CCT to be continued success, and I want to wish everybody a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gan, for sowing some seeds of hope within all of us and for laying the way forward in the implementation of Article 5.3 of WHO Framework Convention on Tobacco Control. We look forward to seeing these initiatives being implemented. And in conclusion, I would like to invite you again to kindly deliver the closing remarks and vote of thanks for today's session.
Thank you, Sonam. Distinguished guests, speakers, stakeholders in tobacco control, and dearest participants, this is not a formal, lengthy vote of thanks. Instead, it's a small celebration. While the tobacco industry overflows with cash, we, you, and me in tobacco control struggle for resources. While they fight with money, we have good hearts, friendships, and networks. So this is an attempt to celebrate the good hearts, friendships, and our networks. The union, our technical advisor, Dr. Rana J. Singh, Dr. Gan Quan, and all the others from the union. The WHO FCTC Secretariat, Dr. Adriana Blanco Marquiza, Dr. Thibaut Zilagi, and all the others from the Convention Secretariat. The GGTC, Ms. Bangon, Ritipakdi, Dr. Mary Aslunta, and everybody else from the Knowledge Hub on Article 5.3. Saksi City Technical Advisory Panel, Saksi City Committee members, and our dearest Saksi City fellows, past and present, our partner organizations, National Authority on Tobacco and Alcohol of Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka Medical Association, Alcohol and Drug Information Center, WHO Sri Lanka Country Office, University of Colombo and its administration, Faculty of Medicine and its administration, our team behind the regional colloquium and the regional report and all the nice videos, our wonderful compeers, Garima and Sonam, and you, the participants from all corners of South Asia and the whole world, and our friendships, our networks, and good wishes. I celebrate all of this. I know the tobacco industry has recorded this event, and they will go through it carefully. This will be done by human beings, men and women, who are part of a family and a community like all of us, who also have hearts. I have a kind request to you too. Please listen to this recording and with your heart, and listen to your heart as well. The next regional colloquium, friends, will be held in a South Asia which is more immune to tobacco industry interference. And goodbye, good day, good night. Ayubowan, Vanakkam.
Thank you, Dr. Mahesh. Lastly, with this positive note, it has been an honor and a pleasure for Garima and I to host this important webinar today. And would like to thank Saksi City for the opportunity. We hope all of you keep safe and pray that we get to meet in person someday in the future. Thank you so much for being here today. Good night.